Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm here to talk about SoFi, the earnings on this company, and if I think they're still a buy, a hold, or a sell. And yeah, if you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 250 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys subscribing. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get right into it. So we can see today started off very good. Our portfolio hit an all-time high of around $25.4 thousand. We're up almost 3% on the day, and then it calmed down a little bit. There's a big drop in the market, but we're still up a lot on the day. I can't complain. And a big thank you to a stock that had us up early in the day. It's still up, but had us up early in the day is SoFi. SoFi stock was up 17.66% after earnings. So SoFi reported pre-market today. You can see they were down 0.9. They rose 7%, almost 8%. They rose to 10%. They rose to 17%, then rose up again to almost 18%, and they kind of settled out at 14%, and then it's just been a little down since then. But post-earnings, they're still up 5%. So SoFi is doing something right. Obviously, they had a good earnings. We can see down here that they beat by a sizable margin as well, and this is after expected growth. They beat that. So, ever since SoFi has flipped into profitability, their stock has been worth a lot more, and, as it should be. Look at the stock the past 3 months, up 57%. Year to date, it's up 50%. The past year, it's up 200%. The past 5 years, it's up 100%. So you can see the stock was, in the gulag for a little bit, as they say. And you probably weren't buying SoFi at that time, but I was, other people were, and that's, you take that risk that SoFi could keep dropping. Maybe they're a company that's going to go bankrupt. You take that risk of losing everything, and you get rewarded with 164% return. I've been very thankful for SoFi for what it's done for my portfolio, and I don't even have that much money in it. You can see most of the money that I've made from SoFi is interest. I've only invested around $400 into it, not even that. And yeah, so SoFi has been very nice to me. Can't complain. But what we're here to talk about today is SoFi worth it still? So there's an article right here. We're going to go over the earnings slideshow in a second. But this article right here kind of goes over SoFi and what it did in earnings. So you can see the revenue is up 44% to $858 million for this company. Amazing. Analysts had predicted earnings of 6 cents. Oh, what's going on here? Analysts have predicted earnings of 6 cents on revenue of $804 million. A year earlier, the company had 1 cent profit using generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP earnings. It was another quarter of accelerating growth. Let's just celebrate it too, on the top and bottom line. This company, as it says right here, this company had 1 cent profit a year ago today. Now they're at 8. It's not crazy, but they're moving in the right direction, and it looks like it's not stopping. So, in addition, for the full year of 2025, management raised guidance for adjusted net revenue to $3.375 billion, up $65 million from the top end of prior guidance. In addition, SoFi guidance calls for 30% annual growth. That's, if you can find a company that's grown 30% year after year, that's a pretty good company. And a big reason why SoFi stock jumped in their earnings actually is because of their memberships expanding. So SoFi had a lot more people sign up for the platform. You can see management updated guidance calls for a pretty meaningful deceleration in year-over-year adjusted net revenue growth. This is partially due to a tougher comparison in the back half of the year, but we believe the main topic of debate will center on how conservative management's revenue guidance is, as the revenue guide calls for second half adjusted net revenues to be 7% above. That's not that important, but SoFi added a record 850,000 members in the quarter. With the gain, membership reached 11.7 million, which it's going to keep growing. Also, SoFi said it expects to add 3 million members overall in 2025, up from its earlier outlook of 2.8. So their members are growing, their assets under management are growing. We can see there's a lot of things that this article talks about. This is a very good article to read if you want to know more about SoFi in depth and you want to read about it, you want to look at the chart. This is a good article to read. I will link this down below, but I wanted to take a look at the investor presentation and give my thoughts on the numbers they came in with. So you can see SoFi was founded in 2011. SoFi hasn't been around for a long time. That's, 14 years ago SoFi was founded. And then Anthony Noto joined as CEO in 2018. So the CEO of this company has joined 7 years after it started, but Anthony Noto is the one that's making stuff happen here. Don't be fooled. So 2018, Anthony Noto joined as CEO, and then they didn't go public until 2021. So this has only been on the stock market for 4 years. This is an early stock to invest in, and it's a good one. It's a damn good one. So you can see they are offering financial services. If you didn't know already, SoFi is a fintech app. They are a bank. They are like Wells Fargo. They are like Chase, JP Morgan, of that nature, but they are doing things more digitally. So that brings me to another reason of why I believe in SoFi so much. I go over this every time, but even if you've seen it, you need to see this again. So SoFi has 5,000 employees. Their market cap is 25 billion now. Wow, that's crazy to see, but they have 5,000 employees. They have no locations. SoFi is purely online. It's remote. They have no physical locations, no leases that they pay. They don't have hundreds of thousands of employees that they pay. So their room for growth is insane. And as time goes on, it seems banking is moving into the digital space. Banking is going to become fully digital. So if we take a look at Wells Fargo, let's check that stock out. Oh, sorry, that is not Wells Fargo. Let's see Wells Fargo right here, WFC ticker symbol. Let's compare these numbers. So they're more than 10 times bigger than SoFi, obviously. I mean, they were founded in 1852. They've been public for how many years? Let's see. Since 2000. So they have, a 20-year jump on SoFi. I think in 20 years, SoFi is going to be here. So if you can 10x your money in 20 years, that's something you can't complain about. That's something that you're doing pretty good in the stock market if you can 10x your money in 20 years. So you can see SoFi, or the price to earnings ratio, is also a lot lower because their room for margins is so much slimmer. They have 217,000 employees. That's insane. I mean, that's more than 40 times SoFi. That's insane. That's a lot of people that are under payroll. And then you see they pay out a dividend as well. I don't like that. I mean, that's good for a bank, but I want the company to reinvest in themselves and grow, which SoFi is doing. They're doing that perfectly. And Wells Fargo is a very successful company, don't get me wrong. But I think Wells Fargo was a lot better to invest in a while ago. I think SoFi is the bank of the new age. Let's take a look at Chase now, which is even bigger than Wells Fargo, actually. They're by a lot. Their market cap is 800 billion. I think SoFi will be there eventually. But look at their P ratio is low as well because there's slim room for growth. And then their employees are insanely high. They have a lot of employees. And the thing that goes on with these banks, Wells Fargo and JP Morgan Chase, is that a lot of their customer base is older people, middle-aged older people. And that's not completely true. There is some younger customers, but it is mostly older and middle-aged people who go to the bank to deposit their check. They go to the bank to take out money. They go to the bank to, put in their pay stub and collect their money. That's just what they do. That's what they've done their whole life. They don't have a direct deposit set up at their place of work. They don't, they're not going to digitally bank. They're not going to digitally deposit a check like a lot of people are nowadays. But SoFi, that's where that comes in. So SoFi has no physical locations, therefore they don't need to pay any leases, and they don't have anyone under payroll working at these locations. So the employees here are all getting paid. They're all getting paid. This is a lot of money going towards employees. But SoFi doesn't have any physical locations. It's all online. That's why the room for profit is so great. And their market cap's so small for what I think they're worth and what they are going to be worth. And as time goes on, the younger audience that they're basing their advertisements towards, they're using celebrities that the younger audience resonates with. The younger audience is, using SoFi as their bank, and then as time goes on, their net worth grows. SoFi's assets under management grow. That the younger generation's kids are going to use SoFi as well. I mean, it's just the ever-ending, perpetual, kind of formula that SoFi is going to keep growing, and they're going to grow faster and bigger than Wells Fargo and Chase because they don't have these locations, and nowadays you don't need them. But if Wells Fargo and JP Morgan decided, okay, we see what SoFi is doing, they're kind of a threat to us at this point, they can't just, get rid of their physical locations because their whole customer base is going to be, up in arms. They're not going to want to bank with them anymore. They might move to SoFi. But they're not going to do that because everyone that they have at their locations is so used to going there and depositing their checks, taking their, direct from their workplace, putting their pay stub in. I mean, that's how, how it works. And that's how it's worked for them for so long. But as time goes on, the banking space is transitioning to fully digital. And SoFi has the best setup for this. I really like SoFi. This could be the best stock in the stock market. And that's why I think after their earnings, I mean, you can go through the numbers some more, but I think they're still a buy. They're up only 5%. They were up a lot more today. They were up around 20% for a little bit. So you can see SoFi is worth a lot. I mean, they can jump 20% after earnings that was good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad at all. It was definitely better than average, but it could have been even better. That's the crazy thing, and I think SoFi has that in the future. So if we look at the members and the increase in thousands, we can see that quarter two 2025, they have 11,746 members, compounding annual growth rate of 51% on members, which is really hard to do. And to keep that steadily compounding like that is really hard. I mean, you can see it's slowed down a teeny bit, but if you have a growing members in the thousands, and it's in the 34% range, you're doing something right. And you can see they're growing faster than 2024, actually. If you look at this right here, if you multiply 846 times 4, you can do the math, but that's more than 2,800, that's more than 2,300, that's more than 1,700. So adjusted net revenue, we see that SoFi also is growing 44% now, which is higher than the 2 previous years. Just saying. Their margins are higher. So you're growing revenue and you're having higher margins. Something's going right. If you can make your margins better and increase your income, then you're just making more and more money. And SoFi knows what they're doing. They're setting themselves up for the best possible outcome, and they're doing it greatly. I mean, shout out to Anthony Noto. He's doing his thing with this company. It's very apparent, as we can see from the returns on the stock. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you could go through in here, a lot of reasons why I think you should invest in SoFi. I mean, you can even look at this right here. Their personal loans, student loans, and home loans, this is one of their biggest revenue drivers. Amazing things that SoFi is doing. And then we go through, the credit performance. You can see another moneymaker, the technology segment. This is still growing. Not as fast as the other ones, but I mean, that's not one of their biggest things either. They have their experience on the mobile banking app. And we also see the platform accounts are actually growing as well. I mean, as members grow, it probably will. But yeah, I mean, we could go through all of this and we could see that there's a lot of good numbers. And we see this, look at the members. I really like that. It's just growing, growing, and growing very exponentially. You see 10,900 to 11,746. And you can see the quarter over quarter, this is 70 or 7.8%, I think. I don't think it's 78. Yeah, 7.8%. I was going to say that doesn't make any sense. But they grew 7.8% compounding quarter over quarter. If you're growing something 7.8%, if you did that in a portfolio, you'd have an average return a year of almost, higher than 50%, which is pretty crazy, or higher than 30-40%, which doesn't happen. So so far the numbers they're putting up are honestly unbelievable right now. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of SoFi. This company's been around for 4 years on the stock market. They don't even have a 5-year chart. They haven't been around for 5 years. Guys, that's insane that you can get in a stock this great this early. And this really is truly just the beginning. I think that, because you can see right here, SoFi IPO'd at $11. They rose up to $25. People really like the company. And then they dropped all the way back down to $4. And then now they're all the way back up at 21 where they rose initially. And now it's a very deserved price for this company. And I think that when we go in the grand scheme of things, this is going to be a little blip in the company's, ever rising price. Because if we take a look at a very, very, very similar chart, a company that also hasn't been around for 5 years yet, they IPO'd at $10. So Palantir IPO'd at, or was it 10? Yeah, they IPO'd at $10. They rose to 35, a little bit more than SoFi. But then they dropped to about $6. And then and then you can see the high right here after they IPO'd was $35. So this would be pretty similar to SoFi when Palantir rose to about, right here. It looks really similar to SoFi right now. But Palantir has a little bit more history. So this is exactly, honestly, what Palantir looks like right now. Look at this. It starts off really, they jump at the IPO, they drop, they get low, they're $6, and then they're back at the highest price right after the IPO. This is an all-time high for the company. And then they just explode. I mean, the stock is worth $160 right now. It's the first red day, and I don't even know how long. I mean, this company just seems to always go up. And I think SoFi is on the same train as this company. I really do. So I really do believe in SoFi. I hope you guys can invest. I think that it's a great company to get into. And, the price is dropping right now. As I'm recording this, it's gone down a decent amount. So, I mean, the cheaper you can get SoFi for, the better. We just saw the numbers. Give me all the SoFi that you can give me for under $20. I'm buying that, 10 times out of 10. We just saw how good the numbers are for this company. It's not a $20 stock. It's worth a lot more than that. So if you can get into SoFi, I'd say do it right now. There's no better time than the present, and time in the market is a lot more important than timing the market. So make sure you have a consistent income in in your life, and you can use some of that to invest in stocks, and you're going to be all set. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I hope you did gain something out of it. I hope you do invest in SoFi, hopefully, and get a little bit of, shares in that sector, the banking sector. It's different than technology. It is a fintech, but I do think that this is great for diversity in the portfolio as well, because it's a small cap as well. So I appreciate you guys for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.